So this is the about fourth version. This one fits perfectly. Obviously there's a big steel tube running behind it here, so I can't put instruments here that are deep. I might be able to put a few indicator lights and the odd switch. So you put in over the steering column and it goes down like that. So the steering boss is there. So that's your kind of line of sight. So if something were tucked in there, you wouldn't be able to see that corner of it. So what I've worked out with my instruments is, if I put them like that, particularly this one, this is the double, if you remember, that's the double temperature gauge. Go there. So you should just be able to see it, and then it leaves room for the voltmeter to squeeze in there. If you measure the width of these with calipers, they come to 3.1 inches. So this is a 3-inch cheap hole saw, but allegedly it'll go through aluminium. It's only got to do 2 cuts. So with these, sometimes they jiggle a little bit, so the hole ends up a tiny bit more than 3 inches. So I don't know whether that's why they made them slightly oversized, I don't know, but you've got to be careful. It's got to be quite close, because the lip here is quite big, but the lip here is only a couple of millimeters. You don't really want to see the edge of the hole, ideally. So I've drilled the pilot hole, I've clamped it. There's a piece of wood underneath. The wood helps guide the central drill bit, stops the side-to-side oscillation or reduces it. Apparently you can put a piece of wood on the top as well. The only issue is I can't actually see that it's drilling in the right place. If you absolutely want to minimise the side-to-side chatter, and I'm using tons of WD-40, and I'm taking it really slowly. There's definitely a hole there. It's reasonably neat as well. So there it is, pretty clean cuts, not bad. The 2-inch one is coming tomorrow for the voltmeter. Do that, do a test fit, and then if it looks alright, I'll think about what switches I need, and whether I need this piece or whether it can just go across flat, which gives you a few millimeters more knee room. I'm back working on the dashboard again. This is just part of a collection I've got of old aircraft parts. They're post-war, but I mean they were used during the war as well. So these were used in lots of British aircraft. I think the Lakester had them, like super chunky switches, designed to be used with gloves. So this type, like a momentary and down, they're commoner than this type, which have obviously already been picked by the pickers. These go like that, like that. So I was thinking, if I have this to power up my ignition system, if I did decide to have a second ignition circuit, like in a rally car, you know, that could be circuit 1, that could be circuit 2. Or we just have circuit 1. So I think I'm going to use one of these. Now obviously they're quite chunky. I might be able to squeeze that in there, perhaps. It's just the bit that's sticking backwards that might hit the tube, so I could probably get it like that. About there. So that's not too bad, is it? Then we've got these. These are warning lights. This type are quite interesting, because if you unscrew, hang on, if you unscrew this, see, the whole thing is a bulb. This whole thing, it doesn't have a bulb in it. This is the bulb, and it's 24 volts. So if it blows, I'm going to have real trouble finding replacements for those because I have got one other. This type are probably better as warning lights because at least, oops, I can't believe that, I just lost it. Right, as I was saying, this sort have the nice retro style cover, a nice surround, and the bulb actually will come out. Although it's 24 volt, if I can find one with similar thread, I'll use that. I think use 12 volt, or I might use an LED, just a really bright one. So, now back together. I've got several red ones and I've also got one white one, so maybe if I use those, I could probably put one there and one there, perhaps, like that. And then this is the key one. This thing is just a push button. So I'm thinking that's gonna have to be the ignition button, really, isn't it? Let's be honest. Now the only place I can put that, because it's so deep, is kind of there behind the steering wheel, but in that point position there, about there. So this is the back half of the starter button. So I drilled a hole, I just filed it out. There we are. So I'm just going to work out where the bolt holes go, but luckily I've got a template here. So this is the pattern I made. Right, well I made this hole using the method I used before, which is where you basically drill a square of holes, start with the corners, drill a square of holes, blend them together, knock it out, and then file it. Now you might think that's painfully slow. It kind of is, but it's not too bad. I mean, that's taking me about half an hour, and you can see it fits pretty much exactly. The holes line up for the screws. That's the back view. Needs smoothing down, but that's okay. It's nice when you've actually got the right tools for the job. In the past I would have just used the biggest drill bit I'd got and then filed the rest of the way. Right, it keeps working loose, but apart from that, test fit my switch. That's good. Right, so quick test fit. Everything's going to miss the tubes. The only thing there's a problem with is this, the ignition button. The mechanism on the back projects, but this back bit is made of rubber. It's like a gland thing, so might be able to remove that if you can see. So this is what I was hoping. If you want to take the cover off there, this is just to protect water from getting into the wires. So here's your various connectors. So I could file a groove and bring my wires out through the side, because I'm only joining two wires together. All these other connectors I'm not using. You can see I'm improvising here. I've got a metal folding machine, but it's really cheap and it's really rubbish. So I've just clamped the bottom edge here to here, and I'm hammering this over the edge of the English wheel. Sorry, whoever made it. But it works. I've gone over this with a flat disc in an angle grinder. That's 120 grit. So I'm now going to go 400, then 800 in the polisher, and then I'm going to use a polishing wheel with polish, in an angle grinder, because you can get such things. So that's 400 grit. It's not perfect. There's the odd little little mini scratch, tiny one there, but you know, not sure I'm after absolute perfection. Anyway, I'll try 800 now. So that's 800. It's starting to look shiny. It's shiny, but still a kind of brushed finish. So now I'm going to use some buffing wheels in the angle grinder. I'm going to polish my dashboard, but before I do it, I'm going to practice on this piece that was cut out wrong. I've seen various ways of polishing aluminium online. I've seen a good one, and before I do it on my dashboard, I'm going to try it on this. Now, this hasn't been sanded at all. This is just bare aluminium. So I'm just going to see what difference it makes before I commit fully to the technique. So we start off with WD-40 and a bit of Scotch-Brite. And apparently you put tons of this on and you scrub it like crazy, and all this black stuff starts coming off. Which I assume is the oxide layer of the aluminium, because aluminium reacts with oxygen in the air, and that's what forms a coating, which then stops it reacting any further. Right, so we've done that, and apparently you do all the brushes in one direction, like that. Right, then we use this stuff, Mother's magnesium and aluminium polish. Okay, yeah, okay. That's pretty shiny considering it hasn't been sanded at all. I'm going to try it on the dash now. It's not like you'd see your face in it or anything. I might actually go back to the buffing wheels, to be honest. Oh well, worth a try. Better. To stop it oxidising, I'm actually just going to give it a coat of beeswax as well. Well, it's not perfect, but I'm reasonably pleased with that. Well, I've been making cardboard patterns again. This is a kind of electronics bay, so you can see this will fit in, this will bolt in, and then you remember I turned the lip underneath there. Well, this tray here matches it exactly, that's why I've got the clamps on. And the idea is Let's just be fixed in with 4 bolts. And basically it's like a electronics base. So if I want to put like a sealed electrical box here and here, I can have instruments feeding into it, or have, I don't know. I don't actually know what's going to go in it yet, but I've got that little bit of space that's reasonably waterproof, which will have a cover over it, as well as the nose cone will go over the top. And it just gives me the option to sort of add extra instruments or God knows what, relays. I have no idea, but I just think having that bit of space might come in handy.